Hindi ata, wala. Lyqa, can you
Hello.
like,
Hello.
say something?
Ayan.
Para lang.
Hi.
Ayan. I think okay na
Hello.
tayo dyan.
Okay.
Narinig na tayo? Yes. Okay, for some reason, kahit alam mo lahat ng testing na ginawa mo, nagkakaproblema pa din. That is the of online things. But napaka-interesting for tonight. Good evening, everyone. My name is John B. and we are with tonight it's Level Up Geek Night podcast. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Alright, so medyo konti lang kami for tonight. Normally, we have a whole cast and crew, pero maraming mga pagbabago and sometimes, we need to learn to adjust to changes in life. Hindi pwede tayo pareho lang lagi. Wow.
Wow.
may lesson kagad. Anyway, my name is John B. I am the Christian Geek, so you can also find us on YouTube. The Christian Geek na YouTube channel na konti pa lang ang subscribers, but okay lang yan because we're not after fame or money, we're after really for the glory of God. Yes. Yun talaga pinush, no? And together with me, I have my partner for this evening. Partner for this evening lang po. Hindi in life kasi mayroon na siyang ibang partner. Our resident chef, Ninay. Ninay, say hi.
Hello.
And of course, we have our special guest for this evening. Sobrang matagal nang matagal nang sinuggest ng aming kasama si Gio na maging guest siya dito. And so we're so happy to have her this evening. Let's all welcome Coach Lyqa.
Woo!
Yes.
Everyone.
She's a very popular YouTuber, TikToker, and educator. I think that's really the most important sa tatlong titles na yan. May influencer pero educator talaga. Alright, so we have a very special topic for this evening, which is really talking about influencing online. Yan. And it's very important, I think, especially now because even though life is going back to semi-normal, people are going out, a majority of us are now on the online space. And what are we as Christians and even geeks like you and me are supposed to do about that? So, take it away, Ninay.
All right. And it is an honor to have you on. Because as you can see, there's like a wonderful YouTube plaque behind her, which
Yes.
only a few have received. So yeah, thank you for being here with us. So let's get right to it. First question, can you tell us a little about yourself, for the audience that may not be familiar yet with you?
Right, so my name is Lyqa Maravilla. Not to be mistaken for Abby, who's been with the show na rin before. Um,
Hi, Abby.
yeah, but I have been creating educational content for almost a decade now. So Team Laika started back in 2015, but even before that, I was putting up drum tutorials. I used to play the drums at church, and the way that I would teach people from around the country was, yun, I would use YouTube for that. So that got me into thinking that, okay, maybe I can do that for other subjects as well, especially for people taking aptitude tests. So civil service exam, UPCAT, people who can't afford pay for review centers. So
Mhm.
yun, that was how I got started. And now we have quite a bit of reach na rin. And I always tell people this naman, all of this is by him, for him, and through him. So talagang from day one, I saw this as a form of ministry. It's just a lot of, ano ba, a lot of work din, trying
Mhm.
to show who Christ is without slapping people in the face with it. So I think that's something that we can maybe talk about then later.
Yeah.
Yun. So I create educational content, motivational content. I have a couple of podcasts as well. So from ang goal namin parang goal ko parang from the time they start school hanggang for when they're looking for jobs, we're hoping to support them throughout. So we have different avenues for that.
Ganda. Ganda. So,
Thank you. And I thank you.
nakakatuwa lang kasi, I mean, it seemed like, parang, lahat, parang may plan no? Kita mo parang there's like a plan that was laid out talaga. And I would say that's really just the Lord talagang na
Yeah,
nakakagawa nun.
definitely.
And having said that, how did you really get into the online space? Bakit online? And since we talked about plans, is it something that you planned in the beginning, or is it something that just came about?
You know, you said na no, na parang there's a plan laid out. I would say talaga it's totally God who made this happen.
Mhm.
Pero siguro just cutting the journey short, no. Ang short na to nitong lagay na to, but understand it's been a decade now. Pero it started with me taking the civil service exam back in 2013. So my parents had us take the test. So I wasn't thinking a lot about it talaga kasi wala naman akong plan to work for the government. But when the results came back, basically I ranked first in the country.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, again, right, 'di ba? So blessing talaga siya kasi I didn't even ask for it. And that night when I found out, I was praying to God. I was telling him, parang medyo unfair. And buti na lang talaga hindi niya ako siya yung God of the Old Testament, no? Kinain ako ng but I was praying kasi, Lord, ang unfair kasi I know so many people who want to take the test, who want to pass the test. Yung mga contractual sila sa government agencies. And the story goes like this, no, for people who are unfamiliar. Some people have been working for 20 years, 30 years without benefits, without yung magandang compensation. Hindi sila nakakapasa ng civil service exam. Kasi requirement siya. So even if you've spent your entire life serving sa government, if you don't pass that test, hindi ka ma-regular. And I know some of them who've been working with my parents, both of them kasi used to work for the government. Mga tita-tita ko, ganun. Tapos kasabay namin sila nag-exam. Hindi sila pumasa. So I was thinking, Lord, they need it more than I do. So bakit mo ko pinapasa? And bakit mo binigay sa akin yung burden ng mag-top 1? Sabi ko, alin ko to. I have no use for it. That was really in my heart nung night na yon. And then That was what got me into thinking na maybe we could do something for them. So I asked my mom to invite them over. So sa weekends, they would come over sa house. Itututor ko sila ng a little bit yung what I know about test taking, mga tips, tricks, ganon. How to solve math problems by just looking at it, mga ganon. So they were the first people I taught. And then what happened was, I had a friend who was taking the NMAT naman. So dream niya talaga maging doctor. But hindi siya strong pagdating sa math. Nag-message siya sa akin randomly and we haven't talked in ages, as in high school classmate ko lang siya. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, alam ko may technique ka dito kasi nung high school kami, mahilig ako sa ganun. Yung parang hindi na kailangan ng algebra. Parang drawing na lang natin tapos you'll get the answer. Sabi niya, meron kang shortcut dito, I remember. Tapos sabi niya, gawan mo naman ng video. Solve mo naman. Tapos sinolve ko, sinend ko sa kanya yung photo. Sabi niya, pwede ba video kasi hindi ko maintindihan yung sulat mo. Di ba? Ang demanding niya, di ba? After niya ako hindi binate for so long. pero sige, sabi ko,
Nakasulto pa eh.
fine, okay. Yeah. Tapos, sabi ko, sige, fine. Kasi meron naman akong old point and shoot camera. Sige, ito gagamitin ko. So, I put it up on YouTube. Tapos, hindi pa uso yung unlisted nun or private na video. So, naka-public siya. So, I wasn't thinking about it naman talaga. Sinend ko lang sa kanya yung link, oh, it's done. Parang a few days later, bakit ganito 16 views, 32 views? And someone randomly messaged me on Facebook. They found me. Sabi niya, hi, I'm Irene, or I'm not sure na kung Aileen or Irene yung name niya. Live in Batanes. Walang review center dito. Sabi niya sa akin. Tapos yung video mo, palabas yun sa civil service, sabi niya. Baka meron ka pang iba.
Wow.
So, that was how they found me, sabihin na natin. And then the first group, loose lang talaga, as in people randomly messaging me online na nagre-request ng videos. They started to form parang their own community, tas they called themselves Team Lyqa. I hated the name. Kasi bakit Team Lyqa? Like a name ko. Parang sabi ko, ang vain naman ng name. Pero over time, I grew to understand it na parang, okay, kasi sila yung team, I'm their coach, kaya they call me Coach Lyqa din. So I coach them through exams, through job hunting, yung mga, sabi nila, challenging parts of their lives. They named themselves, they created the page, and then now, yun nga, ano na kami, I guess more than 5 million across platforms.
Wow.
Over a decade. Some of them, yung first batch, mga bosses na sila. Yung iba, doctor na, yung iba, attorney na. Like, I'm grateful to be part of their journey. And I'm grateful to find then an opening for me to share my faith and how Christians and Christianity and ministry shouldn't be confined din dun sa conversations we have inside the physical body na church. Kasi we are the church. So, yun.
Wow, sobrang na-inspire ako, grabe. Parang, like, from a simple math problem, it just really grew, no?
And no
Wow.
plans at all. As in, if you ask me na, oh, did you have, okay, parang 5-step method para you can gain more followers or anything. Walang ganun. Kaya, and whenever someone says na parang, oh, I have a small YouTube channel, like, you don't need to explain those things to me kasi ganun kami. Like, nung beginning. The only reason I think why we hit a million was because of TikTok then. Kasi, and the pandemic, sa totoo lang. Kasi, online schooling became a thing and we kind of blew up on TikTok. Pero even before that, kahit maliit yung community, ang importante is we're creating positive impact. So, hindi din talaga siya about numbers.
Mhm. So you mentioned TikTok, right? So why TikTok? And was it something difficult, it's a new platform, it's yung editing stuff ng TikTok kakaiba din, 'di ba? Like, so how was it for you guys?
Okay, so musically pa siya. So hindi pa siya TikTok. I started receiving invites from Musically back in I think 2018, 2019, basta way before it became TikTok.
Yeah.
They were asking creators na, oh, you may want to try out itong platform namin. At that time, I was thinking counterproductive to kasi I was producing dati mga siguro 3 to 4 YouTube videos a week by myself. So, sabi ko, hindi ko kaya. At saka, looking at the platform, people were dancing, singing, di ba? Yung mga usual na comedy skits, ganun. Sabi ko, pag magtuturo ako ng math and English dyan, baka mainis lang sila sa akin kasi they're not there for that. Ganun. But in 2020, again, everything changed kasi When the Fire Nation attacked
Nation
them.
attack.
Nerds, all of them. Okay, but yeah, everything changed kasi with the pandemic. What happened was they invited me again. Sabi nila, oh, you may want to consider creating content for TikTok. Um, then nag-hit yung news na I think the words were online schooling will happen no matter what. I was thinking these were kids panicking, thinking na, paano magiging online? Wala akong matututuhan online. So yun pa yung thinking, I guess, in the Philippines especially. People don't necessarily go pa to YouTube for information or for, alam mo yun, for math videos. I was thinking, I need to use this as an opportunity to convince people that they can learn something from a screen.
Mhm.
So we tried it out. The first few videos, I didn't have my face dun sa videos kasi I was thinking, I can hide as much as possible, I would. Pero hindi kasi siya talaga, we did a test pa.
Ah.
It's not as effective. So, sige, fine. So, I started creating educational videos on TikTok. 1 minute pa lang dati. So, it was a challenge to fit everything you needed to fit within 1 minute. But I'm happy na it happened kasi nga, yun, it helped us na ma-convince yung ibang people, not just that they could learn, but that they could teach too. So right now, if you scroll through TikTok, you would see doctors sharing their knowledge, veterinarians, mga pilots, lawyers. Some of them I've had the privilege of meeting. Some of them also said na, oh, you gave me an idea. Kasi scrolling through your videos, ay, kaya niyang gawin yun for English and math. Let me do it for pharmacy, for medicine. So, yun, I'm happy na kahit papaano we managed to create a positive impact din and influence people to do that. To change the thinking na, okay, ang online or social media, para lang sa sayawan yan or sa kantahan lang yan.
Sobrang tinitingnan ko yung ano. I mean, when I think about TikTok, it's the same thing eh. Even now, I think, when I think of TikTok, it's people dancing, people ano, and
Yeah.
actually I had friends na sabi niya na parang okay daw yung, I've made videos, kasi ako I make videos where I talk about, let's say, a movie or a franchise, and parang nire-relate ko to Christianity. I talk about how it is seen from a biblical perspective. And sabi niya, parang okay yan, parang, what if you bring it to TikTok? Parang, paano ko gagawin na short form? Kasi I'm used to like 10, 15, or even 20-minute videos. So parang, how do you do it short form? Pero, ayun nga, parang, it's really about trying it out talaga, no? And testing what works, diba? And,
And I think ngayon nasa 3 minutes na eh yung default for TikTok. So you can go up to 3 minutes. That's I think for a select number of creators, they can go for as long as 10 minutes. So ako for example, I have a couple of 5 to 6 minute videos na on TikTok. So just keep trying. At saka in a way, it helps you talaga to translate the skills that you use in creating TikTok content and simplifying things, making sure na synthesize mo siya for a short form video. Na ano siya eh, yung skill na yon nagbe-bleed din if you're a public speaker, if you're holding devotionals, if you're doing something like this. Natutulungan ka to organize your thoughts. So I would encourage you to do that. And yes, please, kasi may necessity for that.
yeah. Oo, kasi even if I scroll now sa TikTok, a majority pa rin is still random stuff, skits and dancing and whatnot. No? So, I think there is a need for like education, for other materials to come out on TikTok. No?
I think if you fix your algorithm, like if you
Then,
follow yung ito, kasi before ako din, when I started using TikTok, as, consuming lang din. Parang nairita ako because why is it just people dancing? And then when I've, followed the people that I like, doon na fix yung algorithm.
yeah.
So, I think if you use it for educational, ano din talaga, it'll really work.
Truth be told, wala pa kasi ako TikTok account. So I only opened
Ayun.
I've only opened TikTok because of Facebook Reels. Kasi 'di ba parang it's something that Facebook is trying now na parang TikTok style. And so parang okay, so nung titingin ako, so parang most of the time ang nakikita ko parang if you just cast the net, halos lahat videos of dancing, skits or whatnot. So parang that just tells me that there are a lot of content na there's still a lot of space for educational content, no? For me, nakikita ko din. So that's good. siguro let's move on, no? I have a question. So, bilang Kristiyano, sa mga Kristiyano kami dito, and actually, here in Level Up, for those who don't know, no, we are people, we are geeks, we're gamers, we love our hobbies, and then we're trying to bridge the gap between that and Christianity. Kasi nga, madalas sa church, ang tingin sa amin talaga, sa amin ay, it's evil, it's, parang,
Devil.
it's devil. One of our Nina even had an experience where she was asking, "Are you going to this church?" Yung ganon. So parang alam mo talaga na even until now, even with the younger generation, there's still a lot of people, I would say, parang stereotypes and misunderstanding when it comes to hobbies. And we have been using, parang right now, lalo na ng pandemic, no, we have been using the internet as a way to just really create awareness and influence others. So for you, what would be parang perspective mo of people using the internet or the online space to influence people?
Sa akin, I think we've proven na, no, through the years na effective siya as a tool. Celebrity maker siya, impact maker siya, change maker siya. Like, hindi natin din pwede i-demonize yung online space the same way na ang media has been demonized in the past generations. Anything new, I guess, meron talagang backlash eh. 'Di ba? Dati naman, off the devil din ng radio, off the devil din ng
TV.
newspapers, anything,
Television.
lahat yun, 'di ba? Actually, off the devil nga yung translation of the Bible dati, 'di ba? Kasi dapat, ano lang,
Big
original,
word lang.
'di ba?
Original.
So, even the Bible we're holding right now, 'di ba? Sa history would tell us, ano yan, illegal yan before. Erehe ka rin, pilibustero ka for even wanting to translate the Bible in layman's terms. So, laging may ganong klaseng opposition. Just a few weeks ago, ganun din yung feeling ko. Actually, I get that almost on a daily basis eh, from Christians din, from professing Christians din. They would say your Christianity is watered down. Sometimes, prosperity gospel person ka kasi motivational yung content mo. Yung mga ganong klaseng, I get comments like that as well. But my only reason rin why I'm still creating content and being visible is kasi there's a need nga for that. Social media is a tool. And like any other tool out there, you can use it for good, you can use it for bad. And if we don't use it as Christians, and we allow everyone else except us to use it, ano mangyayari, 'di ba? Hindi tayo nagpa-participate. We don't speak the language of the people. We don't talk to them where they are. Kaya we don't need to go that far na rin. We're looking at examples, 'di ba? You know how Christ would speak in Aramaic to certain people? He would speak, 'di ba, Hebrew. Depende din sa kausap. So if our Christ did that and actually made the ultimate sacrifice by being man, 'di ba, to be able to relate, why can't we do that? Of course, may limitations lang din, 'di ba? Kasi lagi mo talagang tatanungin yung sarili mo eh. And this has been a struggle for me as well. Balik ta rin sa totoo lang, kaya funny rin may people say na, "Oh, you're doing this for fame." Actually, my friends and the people close to me would tell you na mas, ano ba, mas averse ako sa success than I am sa pag hindi nag-workout. So, ibig sabihin nun, when I look at this play button, this is a burden for me. Sa akin, malaking responsibility to. A lot of people would say achievement yan, no? Pero sa akin, bigat yun. Kasi now I know that my voice is being heard by, sabihin na natin, more than 1 million people. So what should I say? Anong klaseng tao yung makikita nila? Now, when they find out, Christian si Coach Lyqa, how would they feel about that? And I think when it comes to the online scene, but it's just another way of conversing with people. Just another way of showcasing who you are and who your Christ is through you, diba? Or in you. And when they see, I'm hoping na, okay, this person is trying to help me walang kapalit, diba? Trying to teach me something na hindi ko natutuhan sa iba. Hindi ko kailangan gumastos para makapasa ako sa exam. Now, when they see the effort that I put in, that my team puts in, I would say na, okay, let me listen to this person. What makes him or her different, no? Yung team namin, buong team namin. I'm hoping na that leads them into asking na, okay, anong iba sa akin? And then I could just say na it's Christ. Kasi hindi naman ako nahihiya dun sa factor na yun. Meron lang, I guess, difference eh. If, diba, if you're trying to prove that you are a Christian online, or if you're trying to show lang that you're a Christian online, may mga lines din dyan. Kasi kahit saan naman, meron at meron pa ring makukulangan, I guess, sa effort natin. But at the end of the day, what really matters is, anong naging difference natin sa buhay ng iba? Nakatulong ba tayo? Did we make them feel a little bit better for today? Are they discouraged? Now, encouraged na sila. We open doors ng communication na yon, na when they message me with their personal problems, they know na they can trust me. And funny nga kasi, it's opened a lot of doors din for me na I would never think would be possible. Kasi when I was in Phoebias, so yeah, seminary girl ako. When I was in Phoebias College of Bible, of course we were taught missions is about cultural missions talaga. So transcending boundaries, mga ganun. Dapat iba talaga sila sa'yo. And looking at mission, sabi ko ang daunting nun, hindi ko siya kaya. As an introvert, as someone with social anxiety, sobrang mahihayin ako. Pero now na I'm in this position, na active ako sa social media, I'm seeing what I do as a kind of missions work eh. So now I get to talk to so many people from so many different cultures. Still mind-blowing sa akin to have someone, sabihin natin, of a different faith ask for me to pray for them. You don't get that on a daily basis. And you don't get that by screaming at people na, sinners kayo, lahat kami lang pupunta sa heaven. So, yun, some things to think about lang.
Alright. Nakakatuwa. Actually, sobrang nakaka-relate lang ako dun sa sinabi mo kanina na when that people will really have a feedback on I would say medyo judgment pa nga na parang motivational speaker ka lang or ganito ka lang. I remember
Babae ka lang. Hindi ako pwede magsalita kasi babae ako eh.
That is true. That's like, are we
Shucks.
not in 2022?
or
Bakit
I
usapan?
remember what do you call this? Ako personally, I will just touch base on this. I'm not gonna talk about it talaga. But I'm very vocal in politics because I believe as a Christian, we should be involved in politics. And alam mo yung nasabihan ka pa na dapat mag-share ka lang ng gospel. Huwag ka na mag-share ng thoughts on politics. Parang ako, okay. So parang it's really parang also defining that line yan. Sabi mo nga yung saying that you're a Christian versus showing that you're a Christian. Minsan napakahirap din naman talaga online kasi people will always say something. But I can relate to the idea na you have to really give your voice, no? As Christians and really use that platform wherever you are. And I just also want to say din na natutuwa ako that you think of yung play button mo as a responsibility rather than because for me that shows parang yung humility na understanding na it's actually parang a calling, hindi siya parang I'm doing this so that I can be famous, I can be rich, I can be whatever, 'di ba?
Definitely. We all know God gives and takes away. Like, tomorrow, if I wake up without a voice, right? Without my faculties, all of this could be taken away in an instant. Kaya malaking responsibility talaga siya. So, I know medyo dark, no? Let's thank yung mga Neil Gaiman comics ng bata. But, existentialist ba na thinking na everybody, and we know that we're prepared for that, 'di ba? You know, the message of salvation in many ways, 'di ba? Yung thinking lang na yun, I guess it's a good way to re-examine things din. Na kaya madali, I guess, for me na may lulls kasi isa sa struggles talaga ng influencers yan yung yung video ko dati 1 million views, bakit ito 1,000 lang? Yung subscriber growth ko dati ganito, bakit nag-plateau siya? Alam mo yun, yung mga ganong klaseng thinking. May ganon kasi may push na when you're in the social media scene, people look at you through numbers, metrics, watch time mo, views mo, subscriber count mo. So as a Christian who's participating sa conversations sa social media, you know na you're called to do something else. So you don't measure yourself based din dun sa metrics na yun. Akin, ang measurement ko would be if put up a video and I know it's going to help someone, I'm done with that. Kasi I was called to help eh. Yun lang naman, yun lang ang purpose ko. So, okay na yun sa akin. Kung mag-hit yan ng 1 million views, bonus na lang yun. Kung hindi siya magduduel, okay lang. Basta ang importante, it's something that I could be proud of. And my God would be proud of me kasi I know that siya ang naglagay sa akin sa posisyon na yun. So, yung struggle na yun, hindi natin dapat isipin na immune tayo doon. Pero the fact that we are grounded in our faith helps us na mag-stand pa rin kung ano yung tama. Kahit na may temptation na ganon. Hindi talaga siya na-measure that way.
Praise God.
And sa totoo lang if you're thinking about, nakakatawa kasi sabi ko sa inyo kanina, gusto ko sila ma-encourage na gumawa ng social media accounts nila, no? Pero this is a bit of a warning din. Sasabihin ko sa inyo na you will have to grow deep in your relationship with God din when you journey sa social media. Kasi lalabas yung mga questions na yun eh. Like, saan ba nanggagaling yung feeling ko ng peace? At peace pa ako dahil successful ako? Dahil tumataas yung views ko? Or at peace ako because I know that I'm doing what God wants me to do? Mahirap yung journey na yun. Pero if you're ready to embark on this journey, sobrang worthwhile niya rin.
For me, that's very, very encouraging. Nakakatuwa naman. Nina, I think we have some questions from our audience. We actually have
Yes,
questions
from the
audience.
chat, we actually have a question. So Pat Uy is asking, how has studying the word/Bible influenced your influencing and vice versa?
No, you draw from the word eh. Everything you do. Ang thing lang talaga is yung interpretation, no? Yun talaga. Kaya you really have to pray for grace. So you could both be looking at the same text and have totally different takeaways. Kasi nga, nang nangyayari, di ba, reflect natin yung buhay natin sa text instead of the text reflecting back on us. So, iba yung usapan eh. And one of the things I always tell people is try not to weaponize verses. Alam mo yun, whenever you do it, whenever you post about anything online, you really have to understand na, okay, is it speaking to me because of a certain thing or akin lang ba to or kailangan ko ba siya i-share? Kasi hindi naman talaga lahat naman ng reflections mo dapat i-share mo online. So, sa akin, Bible-based pa rin all the time. It just may not be a direct quote of the passage in the Bible that I got it from. It may not be yung nakalagay yung verse. Kasi nga nakakatawa kasi pag, again, no, wala kang magagawa, may mga masasabi pa rin yung ibang tao. When I quote verses, they would tell me, you're a girl, hindi ka dapat nagko-quote ng verses. Kasi, you're not supposed to speak. Pag hindi naman ako nag-quote ng verses, sasabihin watered down yung Christianity mo, ba't hindi mo i-quote yung verses? You're using far too few verses. Like, laging may ganun. At the end of the day, again, ikaw naman nakakaalam nun eh. That's the thing about our personal relationship with God. Dapat talaga in constant communication ka with God. So you could ask him, is this word for me? Is this word for everyone else? May translation work ba akong gagawin? Kasi sa akin, no, sorry, medyo lumalayo ba ako sa tanong? Sa akin, ang goal ko as an influencer, sabihin natin, as a motivational speaker, as an author, someone who posts online, whenever I post anything na motivational, ang goal ko is to translate translation work. Basically, everything I do is translation work. Translate this truth into something that is in a context na naiintindihan ng mga tao at kailangan nila ngayon. If we're talking about high prices ng bilihin, how can I look at God's word and translate it into something na encouraging for people who are going through this? Lang. And ganun ginagawa ko sa math, ganun ginagawa ko sa English, ganun ginagawa ko sa text.
Nice.
So, hopefully lang, mabitin sila and they would look for the source. Saan nanggagaling to? And they do, sometimes. Like one of my stories is, I used to send devotionals as reading comprehension quizzes to a group of young girls in the South, no? So they don't share our faith. So sinasend ko lang sa kanila, articles lang, something I would write, devotionals talaga. Tapos, after nila pumasa sa exam, so hindi na nila kailangan, they kept asking for more. So, I introduced, okay, actually medyo similar yung daily bread. Medyo mainstream yun, daily bread dun sa mga binibigay ko sa inyo. If you're okay with that, let me point you towards this direction. So, yun lang yung task ko, I guess.
I
A
like
lot of it is editing.
I really like what you mentioned na ano talaga you when you draw from the word, it's really a question on you getting the discernment whether or not this is something for yourself or for public consumption. No? Kasi like I mean, super agree ako na not everything online should be shared. No,
Yes.
even in my political phase, wow. siguro siguro 10% lang of the 100% of the stuff that I see that I agree with that I share because feeling ko the 90% even if it's tama, it's not loving, it's not biblical, it's not godly,
Mm.
alam mo yon. So parang ako these days I treat social media with the kind of na parang pinag-play ko nga pag minsan, especially for certain serious things, whether or not I should share this, no? And I think it's especially true when it comes to when we include the Bible or when we include God's word in our thoughts and opinions, no? Kasi madali kasi talaga siyang ma-misconstrue at ma-misunderstand ng mga tao. So,
Yes. And then it's so hard to take it back. Like one of the
yes.
things that I wrote kasi we were challenged to have parang a list of basically parang tenets mo yun, no? What's this? It's easier to win people over than to win them back.
Yes.
And
Yes.
online sobrang true niyan. And I know you guys na true rin siya for small groups, for communities. Sobrang dali to try mo lang, 'di ba masaya dito. Madali mag-invite eh. Pero
Ah,
once na offend mo sila,
wala na.
once na nakita
Hirap.
nila na ay wala palang integrity dito. 'Di ba? Wala na, mahirap talaga. So, it's alam mo to borrow from outside world, no? Yung term na creating safe spaces. Why were they the first ones to have this idea na, okay, let's create a safe space? And we should be, I guess, one of the first nga eh. Dapat na-master na natin by now yun. How do we
Mm.
create safe spaces for people? So if they find safer places outside than here, we really blame them for looking outside, looking somewhere else. Yun yung isa sa mga na-realize ko in my journey. And again, no, context, PK po ako, no? So, pastor's kid ako. Ministry na ako since I was, 7 years old. Leader ako since forever. I know then yung what happens dun sa side na yon. Pag Christian ka, na puro Christian talaga yung kaibigan mo. Tapos wala ka na ibang kaibigan na iba. Kasi
Yeah.
ang oras mo, puro church lang eh. So, minsan hindi natin napapansin, Christianese pala yung language natin. Hindi natin napapansin yung mga jokes natin. Offensive na pala sa
Christian, no?
iba.
Oo.
At yung jokes nila na-offend naman din tayo sobra. 'Di ba? Up in arms ka lagi pag may mention, bakit hindi lang nila na-capitalize yung C sa Christmas, galit ka na. 'Di ba? Yung mga ganun. So, ang nangyayari minsan, instead of bridging the gap, we build walls.
Yeah.
And online, it's a different conversation eh. Maganda yung sinabi niya kanina kasi, totoo lang, social media, lalo na kung public, imagine niyo it's the same thing as pumunta ka sa palengke, tapos lahat nung nakasalubong mo, sinasabi mo yung sinabi mo online. So if I tell you, kuya, I post something na, okay, evangelical Christians are the only ones who will go to heaven. Kung pinost ko yun in public, it's akin to me walking sa sidewalk and screaming that in everyone else's face. Kasi pinost ko siya in public eh. Would you do that in
No.
public?
Diba? Yeah.
Diba? So whenever we post anything online din, publicly especially, ganun din siya. Totoo lang, one of the things na I do to measure if I should post this or upload this is, I ask myself, is this something na sasabihin ko to someone, to a stranger, face to face? If I feel at any point na hindi ko dapat siya sabihin, maybe I shouldn't post it online. Diba? Kasi they're minding their own business, and here I am, diba? Telling them this is how you should do things, or this is how I do things, I'm better than you. Mga things lang like that. I guess we unlearn natin yun. Kasi especially if you grew up in a Christian community or sometimes in a community na ang thinking natin ay superior ka na kasi diba? May imputed goodness ka eh, tsaka holiness. Na hindi na natin naiisip yun from the other person's perspective.
Yeah. Nako. Hirap pa naman nun. Na, na parang meron na silang image of who you are. Kaya hindi ka na nila papakinggan kasi ito na, ikaw na to eh. Yan yung akala nila na ganyan ka, no? So, we can definitely relate with that. I know that you have to run, but we do have, one last question to ask before you go. No? And, what would be, siguro, so what would be your advice to Christians who would like to be influencers, who would like to use social media and the online platform as a way to influence and minister to others?
One thing I always tell my students, Christians or hindi, is that your online life should reflect your offline life. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Dapat consistent tayo. And when we talk about Christians being influencers, ang question dyan would be, kumusta yung offline relationship mo with God? Kumusta yung offline relationship mo with people, right? With the people close to you. It's so easy to pretend like
Yeah.
everything's fine. God is writing my story. Minsan, God is writing my love story, di ba? And then, hindi pala, no? Bakit? Kasi again, it's so easy to cultivate yung online image.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think our time is better spent cultivating our offline life, our personal relationship with God, your relationship with other people first. Now what happens online will be a healthy side effect of what's going on in your personal life. And I've seen that happen in my own life as well. Kasi hindi siya baliktad. Hindi siya yung, okay, ito yung nangyari online, kaya magre-respond ako sa totoong buhay. Hindi. Yung online na pinapost ko, usually in response to things happening to me. Una, offline. So, yun yung unang encourage ko na gawin ninyo. And if you are going to start on this journey, create your own podcast, diba? Create your own videos. Join TikTok na kasi kailangan talaga yan. Ang sasabihin ko would be, again, see this something that you could use for God's glory. Balik tayo dun sa, again, often naman quoted na verse. Nagkataon lang nasa dining table ko yun sa childhood house namin. So, whether you eat or drink, diba? Do it all for the glory of God. So, dagdagan lang natin, whether you eat or drink or post, diba? Do it all for the glory of God. And yeah, there's room for you there. And a bit of encouragement lang. Kasi you may think, ay, Christian, ang corny kasi ng Christianity, di ba? Ang corny naman. Kung, ano ba yan? Geek na nga ako, tas Christian pa, di double whammy. Like, I get that. But this is actually one of the perfect times for you to just be yourself, and you would notice a community will form around you, drawn by the same values, by the same interests. Hindi mo kailangan magpretend ng na you're anyone else but yourself. And yes, proof of concept din yung nangyari sa akin, 'di ba? Nasa text din naman 'yan. When you raise Christ's name up, he will draw men unto him. So use that as a way to bring all the glory back to God. And you would soon be surprised na if it's God's will, mangyayari yan. Doors will fling open. And excited ako for that. Para sa inyo. Kasi shine talaga yung Christians. Like, you may think na hindi, pero if you enter conversations ng top creators ng, minsan nagugulat kami. Kasi, ay, PK ka rin? Oo, ako din eh. Kung 12 kami, for example, sa YouTube Next Up, and I think, 4 yata kami na PK dun sa group na yon. Tapos, more than half ang believers. So, just do it. And hindi naman na-hide under a bushel yung light natin. So, keep shining.
Ganda.
Shucks, ang daming quotable quotes. Parang I wanna like, babaya, I will watch this again and just like type everything.
I think bitin, sobrang bitin. And we know that you gotta go and we understand. So, dapat may part 2 tayo para kasama.
Definitely, kailangan.
May part 2 tayo, definitely. And I think I learned a lot, and I think it's also an encouragement because what you're doing is something that feeling ko is also aligned with what we're doing in Level Up. We're parang translating scripture and God's word to an audience that may not necessarily understand the Bible or may even be antagonistic against it, 'di ba? As most geeks are, geeks naman medyo, 'di ba? I'm too intelligent for religion, usually ganyan. But and I like that you said nga, parang it's translating it to a context that the audience understands. And I think that's important to note na hindi siya about watering down the gospel or it's not about parang just choosing portions of the gospel to fit no, but it's more of really putting it into words that your audience will relate and understand, and hopefully a seed is planted in them that will grow, that God will make grow. So all right, sabi ng isang one of our commenters on chat said, no cap, this woman is fire daw. Glad.
Fire emoji.
Yes.
It's the leather.
So anyway, praise God. So we'll have part 2 of this. Meron ka bang mga upcoming na na you would like to promote or parang projects or whatever na
Ano ba? I try not to check my calendar para hindi ako masyadong
Okay.
overwhelmed. But I guess if you want to join the conversation, just to dig deep, especially, I guess that's what I'm prompted to talk about right now. I have a podcast. It's more personal, mas malalim, mas about my personal journey. Kasama na rin yung journey ko in the faith. You may want to check it out. It's called Trying Hard with Lyqa. It's a podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere else. Pag-usapan natin yung mga bagay na siguro uncomfortable pag-usapan ng iba, pero kailangan natin pag-usapan. Like, is trying hard a bad thing? Is being smart a bad thing? Diba? If you're smart shamed, what do you do about it? Mga bagay like that.
Oof.
smart
Fully
shaming?
makabring ng comfort.
Ganda ng topic ng smart shaming, ha?
Oo nga,
Common
I
pa naman
will
din sa
definitely
Pilipinas.
listen to that.
Yes. Anyway, thanks. So, you can catch Lyqa on YouTube and on TikTok, Team Lyqa or Coach Lyqa. Search nyo lang, madaling hanapin. It's Lyqa, baka hindi nyo alam. Sobrang
Wag
dali-
kasi singer yun.
So yun. And Trying Hard Trying Hard with Lyqa, tama ba? On
Trying
Spotify and where you
And
can
everywhere.
you could get podcasts. Yun. So thank you guys for joining us for this evening, no? And we definitely have to have a part 2. It's been a pleasure, Lyqa, and we want to learn more, no? And for those who are listening or watching for the first time, or if you're watching it at a later time, no? If you're looking for a place where it's a safe space, here at Level Up, we are a community who are open to talk about anything. Whether it's geek related or personal or whatever. Kung gusto nyo mag-iyakan, kayang-kaya namin yun. Open na open.
Game na game.
And of course, we play games while we're at it, no? So join us. We are on Facebook. We're also on Discord. It's invite. You can go to invite.gg/LUGN and just chat with us. And we'll be ready. So normally sa Discord, we play games, we watch movies, and we have Bible studies actually. So if you have the time, drop by. And with that, I want to say goodbye and good night. See you guys.
Night.